representative of this district, District 116. I'm a small business owner, family guy, love liberty, love cake, everything else.
Yeah, I'm Willie Stanford. I'm the interim secretary for the party. Yeah, I'm a small business owner too. I just sell computers I might run for office probably in like 2 or 4 years. Waiting to get off probation.
I'm Logan Miller, vice chair, intern. Photography, working hard. Who's next?
You guys
No,
ready?
you don't have to, we can just call them.
Yeah. You want to do yourself?
You gotta do the roll call?
Yeah, you already got everybody's names. That's it.
Yeah. What was your name? Shelley. Well, you remember, you just visited.
So yeah, this is our first meeting, so chairman of the party, my job is to call meetings, like all that typical leadership stuff. He does all the paperwork, and what we tell him, and this is for me. We do have a treasurer's file open. Interested, and that will be managing funds and all that good old
One thing we have to
stuff.
put on your notes for discussion is membership fees. We're gonna do that, or your donation is.
We can discuss that.
Okay.
So, for those of you new to libertarianism and what we're about, is we're not about non-aggression, freedom, keeping government out of our lives. Small government, right to defend yourself if somebody aggressive upon you. But basically, we just want everybody to have a peaceful life and do what they want to do without fear of going to prison or being hurt.
Yeah, people should be able to live their life as long as they're not interfering with other people. Yeah, I mean, victimless crimes don't.
So we don't play video on what is libertarianism, I don't understand.
We just honestly are the rules that will live in a free country. But when you stop to think about it, we really don't. How so? If we don't do certain things like pay taxes, we'll be sent to jail. If we do other certain things that harm no one, like smoke weed in the wrong state, guess what? We'll be sent to jail. This is where the idea of libertarianism comes into play. But first, a quick and simple history. Like most modern ideas, this one came about during the 17th century and was meant to cure the unfairness that has plagued our world since the very beginning. You see, during this time, people began to get sick of being poor while making rich people richer. What I mean by this is that most people at this time were ruled by some sort of lord who paid their lords with work and taxes in the form of money, food, supplies, and whatever they were making. A man named Thomas Paine said, for example, that there are two distinct classes of men in the nation: those who pay taxes and those who receive and live upon the taxes. So the idea of libertarianism really came about just like the ideas of socialism and capitalism. It was a way to figure out how to make things fair, and in a nutshell, it's that you get to keep what you earn instead of giving a portion of it to others. Now, just like socialism and capitalism, there are hundreds of different thoughts and ideas about how to best practice this. But for the sake of this video, we're going to look at what it means in the United States. In fact, in most other parts of the world, the term is more closely related to socialism, while here in the US, it's more closely related to the term free market capitalism. The exact meaning of libertarianism is to liberate or to defend freedom. And it is based on the assumption that there is a natural harmony between productive people, and that it's only when the government intervenes, takes a portion of what we earn, and hands out rewards where we begin to get into conflict. Think about it like this. Libertarians believe in this idea called the non-aggressive principle, or NAP for short. This means that any law that a government makes should not be a law that coerces people into following its rules if those rules don't apply to protecting other people's natural rights. An example of a violation of this is taxes. Why? Because like I said before, if you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. before marrying a person of the same sex. And as far as who we should punish and put into jail, simple. Anyone who violates the rights of another individual, like murderers, rapists, and thieves. So this all sounds pretty straightforward, but you may ask yourself why it hasn't caught on to the mainstream public. There are a number of reasons. One simply being that the Democrats and Republicans literally own the commission on presidential debates. This means that they basically get to choose who gets to debate during a presidential candidacy. And why would a Republican or a Democrat want more competition? But there are other reasons too. First, there is yet to be a country that has tried to implement this idea of libertarianism. You'd think that if it was such a good idea that at least one country would have tried it. Second, many critics say that it sounds like a good idea, but they wonder how it would work practically. Meaning, if businesses were no longer regulated, how would monopolies stop from being formed? Or when people are too old to work and have little savings or expensive healthcare bills, how could they live comfortably in retirement? Third, libertarianism in the U.S. is basically founded on this idea of the non-aggressive principle. The problem with this is that many economists believe that having a non-regulated free market economy is a system that creates aggressive coercion all by itself. How? Simple. And here's one example. It doesn't address the conflict between property owners and renters. If there is no governmental regulation to people's property rights or property owners' rights, then one day you might wake up and say to yourself that you aren't going to pay the rent this month because your landlord just raised it 50%. Of course, the property owner isn't going to allow that and will use some sort of, most likely, aggressive coercion to get their rent. Fourth, there is an assumption in libertarianism that economic growth also grows the happiness of people. But this assumption hasn't been proven with science. This is called the Easterlin paradox, named after a guy who studied this kind of stuff and found that during a great period of economic expansion in the U.S. between 1946 and 1970, there was no increase in happiness. Fifth, there are environmental criticisms because if we don't regulate our businesses, there is no clear way to make sure they make environmentally responsible decisions. In response, libertarians often say that people wouldn't purchase products from businesses that are unethical. But the fact is that we already do. Libertarianism seems like a great idea. It's all about providing the maximum amount of freedom to the individual while protecting their individual rights. But the question still remains about how to best implement a system like this in a way that will protect the freedom and the rights of every individual. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button below, and share this video.
So you see it's about, you see what people argue against. Mostly crappy arguments, it's kind of
I've
silly.
got a problem.
So I got a point of discussion. So like, they said that it hasn't really been implemented anywhere, but Argentina.
My 6-year-old.
Oh, that's true, yeah, Argentina is doing something.
They're doing kind of, some things on here like, they're talking about like, complaining about like, well, you know, if there's no property rights, renters can say, hey, rent, that's not actually like true because renters don't own property. Own the property, When it comes to, you know, the economy, it's basically, government stays out of the market, not the business necessarily. So that's basically government not taking bribes by big business owners to put monies in the hands of their politicians to make themselves rich. But that's like long-term stuff. What's up, though? Look.
So Ethan, you're here. Logan. I'm here. Charles. Now we're gonna discuss some things with.
Charles, this is.
Caitlin. Paul. Charlie.
Shelley.
Oh. Sierra. Will. Preston.
Preston.
So,
I think that's everyone.
before we do discussions, say like our goal in St. Francis County is basically to show voters that on the local level, like you don't have to go with what we call the Green Party or the right. You know, you want to go with all, you know, the Democrat people are, they're all owned by the same sponsors, right? We do moral vote, especially on a local level where, most people don't pay as attention to offices, but our goal here is to recruit members, teach them, you know, the basics and fundamentals of libertarian values, the ideas of non-aggression, just being left alone, and identify strong members of the party that we can recruit as candidates to push them and encourage them to go for local positions like city council, school board, things like that, because the biggest change in government is made on the local level. At the local level, that's where we'll make our biggest impact. We'll plant the seeds and we can grow from there. So that's what we're trying to do as a party here. Because we got issues in this area like we got Dale Wright, our current state representative. We got police that constantly take four people, retired people, and take some guns. Right here in this library, one of the most, not in the library, but this library, we look out to a woman who didn't pay a late fee, and our city decided they were going to arrest her for that. Yeah, there's no reason for anything like that. That's like completely unconstitutional. In the real world, if you didn't pay like your doctor bill or whatever, you're just going to send the collectors. They're not going to come arrest you. You know, then we got Dale Wright, our state representative, he trying to pass a bill that allows police to search your personal property over municipal violations. So if you're asked to, all they can kick your door. You know what I mean? So it's like on a local level, these things do matter. And so we're going to stop. You know, and that's our goal. We're going to plant those seeds. Dale Wright will try to pass up to 4 times. Can you pull up that bill for reference to show them? Yeah, fine. And then we got, they say it's protection, but we got these, what are those cameras called that are all around town?
Oh, the flock camera.
Flock cameras. Every time you drive by, it takes your license plate information, it tracks where you're at. They say it's a good thing because they can track criminals when they need them, but they can also track you anytime. So, you know, I don't know, but you get, I'm not a fan of being monitored by Big Brother because I don't be monitored. That's my stance on it anyways. So now you guys know like what we're trying to do here, you know. You wanna move forward with your motion for discussion?
Yeah, so, I got a second for that. Motion to discuss, the, trip to DC.
I second that.
So we're going to DC, for the Libertarian National Convention on, May 20th. But we're leaving on the 22nd. It's the 23rd through the 26th. And Logan, Ethan, and I, we're delegates for the party, so we'll be voting on, who the Libertarian Party is going to select for their presidential candidate. Do they go debate? Like, will that candidate that we select go debate with the other parties?
So,
in the front?
whoever is selected at the national convention, they become the official U.S. presidential candidate
For the party.
for the party. So they'll be up there with Trump and Biden on the national ticket. Are they gonna win? Probably not. But, you know, we're more about morals than we are as resistance as we help. So,
But that is, that's open to any libertarian that wants to pay for it.
yeah.
That's like $225 to get into, the convention.
We're also carpooling, so we can see what does.
You'd have to get your own hotel room, but, you know, I'm sure we can carpool with a certain number.
Yeah, we can figure stuff out for it. Yep. Like the financial crap, we can figure out later. We discuss that. We might even have money for it. So, I would like to propose a motion for discussion. decided to do, their way around it was, well, we're gonna increase the taxes on the tax without representation, but the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna make it refundable. But we're not gonna tell people that this scratch is refundable. So you have money waiting that's refundable, you just don't know it, right? So, one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna basically entice people to our booth by teaching them how to sign up to get their money for the gas tax that they're owed, because the government won't screw them, so we're just gonna screw back and take what's ours. So, yeah, those are things we wanna do in the booth, and then obviously hand out pamphlets and crap like that. Water. Yeah, water.
So, should we contact, the city instead of that?
I don't even know where it's at.
So we need to find out how much it is. And get with, the state party, see what they provide us.
Yeah, okay.
Because the state party, we met with them, we met with St. Louis a couple weeks ago. Well, their treasurer is also the chairman of the state, and he's all behind it. Go to Farmington, pay the reserve spot.
And that'll be at the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, or just call it Chamber of Commerce. I can do that.
This, something.
Any ideas, any ideas to put that in?
Yeah, if we're saying something stupid, by all means, tell us we're being stupid.
Yeah, it's not personal, we're just getting stuff together, you know. We don't have any old business.
We're overloading him with work. And then after this meeting, we're also gonna form our commission, so we gotta set up bank accounts. Get that. Let's see, parade.
Do we wanna try to have something on the parade? For him, at least, for him running office? Maybe another rep that are gonna be there. Yeah, no,
Run as like a party and, right now I'm gonna focus on the party. I gotta get distracted. Yeah, like you said, everybody's gonna be there.
yeah, any two break.
You want to like use your phone or something? Like,
Well, we can try to find one. We don't know there's no nice people.
We just take it sure.
I mean, whatever, just, it's something nice, and, you know, and then they'll be compensated for their time, but, you know, outside. We wanna start hunting down.
All these are also gonna need money.
Yeah.
So we gotta find out who our treasurer's. Great. Maybe we can like,
Hand out candy, hand out gas tax cards.
edibles to adults. Then, motion to discuss the picnic. Yes. We are wanting to, we'll say Liberty Picnic, freedom food, right? So our idea is at a local park, we're gonna do, if people wanna make a donation for food, wherever they can, maybe we can raise some funds that way. Then we're gonna buy some speakers. I talked to Jordan Rowland, he's running for Senate, District 3, Mike Washington, he's willing to come and talk. Talk to two other people, you know, I'll probably show up and we'll do one house, I'll show up. I guess music.
We got a date on that, so,
Yeah, actually, what was that date? It was,
we were thinking of,
18th is what we wanted to do. So we gotta preserve it.
yeah, I got it on here, contact the city, we second on that?
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to get, we'll be better at this.
Everyone's good, May 18th? Saturday?
Like 6 o'clock or something, or
What time are we gonna set it for? Like
Let me take days.
days on that.
1 to 4?
All in favor, May 18th?
Yeah.
Aye.
And Dustin's gonna cook. He's gonna cook for us. He's gonna cook pork steaks.
Four seconds? Right.
Yeah.
What time do we want to set it for?
Yeah, this is 6 work, or do you work on Saturday?
No, I don't work weekends.
Okay, I'll be here, but
I'll make a picnic, probably do it.
Should we put a proposal that has us in the book?
Starting to cook. We want people to come to park and see it and come up.
only issue I got, I would do things at church.
That's fine.
I don't get out church till 2.
Okay. We can get there. We'll set it for 2.
Okay. You said 2, but we'll get there and start setting.
So, we've got this settled. You did?
I can get involved then.
Yeah, that's not about those. Yeah, we did make history.
We had the largest libertarian event in St. Francis County that took place.
Is that it?
Which is 9 people.
Last time we had 4 people.
Yeah. I had the old party. So it's the old party. We're doing better on day 1. We are up.
Charles,
We might. Actually,
hey, someone alive said talking to mics, talk to
Talk a little louder.
we don't have mics.
We'll get that in the future.
It's not too loud.
Respond and tell them that they're invited to our meeting so they can hear what we are saying. Yes.
We'll be louder next time.
Go, man.
Yeah, we just wanna bring up the membership.
Okay, so, I don't know how you guys wanna run membership, go ahead and open it for discussion. Do you wanna do like $10 annual, or 25 annual, or just pass the hat around every meeting? How do you wanna do it?
So,
We have to fund ourselves somehow, hold events.
so me personally, I'm not a big fan of like, we have to do things.
Well, no, we don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, it is open, so, and I would like to do it. Me personally, I would say, someone else pitch in. Feel,
So pass the hat around.
yeah, it feels the right thing to do, and pitch in,
Sounds good.
to help out.
Let's put it to a vote.
Maybe we might actually get more donations off of it.
We got a motion for vote.
Motion for vote.
For motion for.
Well, I second donation.
I vote
We'll just change it, we don't see what money.
Yeah, it's get clear.
Should let her vote on the park.
Because she's a kid, you know, the parking thing.
Yeah,
English?
Engler.
We'll do the kid-friendly event.
And we see her.
That's most of what I got. Oh, Tony over here is interested in treasurer. So, do you guys want to put that to vote or?
I'm thinking with Charles, man.
He is
No,
Charles.
I go like,
Oh. That's good to know, that's good to know. Were you?
Anybody else
prefer like
interested?
it, or, do you prefer Tony, or?
yeah,
Okay.
and Charles don't worry.
Okay, yeah.
I consider.
Host an in-house election or, one or the other?
I think for, you want to tell me something about me, since, since that these people don't know me?
He's disabled.
Charles Gordon, I go by Tony, on whichever. I've got
That big.
7 years experience, managing restaurants. I worked for Department of Corrections for 14 years, sergeant for 2. And I've been doing private security since until, I got sick. And if anybody's got any questions, ask. Down what else is going on? What's the favorite color? What? Favorite color? Black. Favorite black. What's the favorite black stuff? What's the favorite black stuff? I don't have one. What about my parents? I've got applications in, I've also,
Here's your lesson for your fire chief.
Don't
yeah,
let
we
me
hired,
spend money.
but then he called me back for help with an event. But no, I've had applications in, and, just trying to find something I can do.
We are like, dude, this only took 30 minutes. It's supposed to be an hour.
Yeah, this is one of the, this is the first meeting.
Should we have the other participant, or just thinking about becoming treasurer, introduce ourselves?
She don't need that.
She denied that earlier, but, would you like to reconsider? This ain't really a debate right now.
Democracy. We got democracy, right?
Come to me about that,
Not democratic, we're constitutional republic.
yeah, real folks sometimes.
Okay, so,
What president you work at?
All right, I'm
Just
gonna
such a
close
farm,
the table for official matters.
Meeting open for trial.
Yeah, usually so.
You're gonna do it in term so we can get a vote.
Yeah, are we on the,
I don't remember anything about it, but yeah, I remember everything.
we're gonna put it up for, or we wanna table it for,
Let's say we,
I move that we table it for the next meeting,
yeah.
and just appoint an interim,
Let's table it for now.
just table it back.
So you guys think council?
Yeah. Table it, we're gonna set up our, meeting and everything, come on, tomorrow, I guess.
This is
identify them, and encourage them to run. You know, and we're talking local levels, because at local levels where we can make the biggest impact right now. You know, that's,
I'll kind of dig in. Things that we incentivize people to fund their site. Reduce taxes for small businesses.
well,
You know, just,
those are
we
things,
have anything like that, that
those
will
are things we,
incentivize people.
those are things we support. As a party, we can't do that, we can just spread ideas.
We got the gas tax refund.
And put forward people who are running for office that can do those things. Like me personally, you know, if I'm elected, you know, I want to propose legislation that really end taxes for businesses that make less than $500K a year. Because that gives them the possibility to, take that money, like I say, invest in employees, grow their business, grow their class, you know,
Yeah.
like on a low level. And then from there, do like a step tax,
But
which, I mean, most people don't like taxes, but I mean, big businesses, make them actually pay and get rid of the loopholes, but that's like a,
why can't we put that out there as our parties stand up?
so we have a,
What does that stand up?
yeah, we have a state platform, and the state platform is where these property taxes, taxes in general. We're against imprisoning people for taxes, because that's basically saying like, it's robbery is what it is. So that's like,
You don't pay your rent, you're gonna do it.
right, if I come to you and say, you're gonna give me $50, because those people said you have to, even though you don't agree with it, you don't, I'm gonna put you in prison, that's fucked up, you know, like that's tyrants as violence, you know, that's robbery, you know? It's like, I would rather be robbed in St. Louis driving down the highway, because at least that guy's only robbing me one time. Like the government's just gonna keep coming back and coming back.
I'm just looking for angles to
Yeah.
get people to, don't insure us and fund us.
Well, everybody, left or right, they're gonna have something they agree with. On the left, they're gonna agree with our stance on the whole. You know, the Libertarian Party doesn't believe in war unless we attack. You know, if we're not attacked, if
Or
we're not,
neutrality, basically.
yeah, neutrality. You know, like, crap going on, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, we don't support our taxes. No one cares that, you know.
Oh, we shouldn't be funding other people's wars.
There's over $200 billion.
Basically, it's
Is that all? I thought it was supposed to be.
This project's a
I
lot.
thought it was supposed to do a trillion.
It's a lot more, I don't know the exact numbers, so I figured like 200 billion and some state debt in there.
Yeah, and there's a little something for everybody, you know, on the Republican side, you know, we support the right to defend ourselves, that's our right. We have the right to a life of happiness and peace, and that's the rest of on, and we should have the right to defend ourselves. We believe in no victim, no crime, you know? Husband over there wants to go do a little math, let him do a little math. No, when he decides he's gonna do a little math and go here 214, rob the place, that not points to that victim, so yeah, he's gonna have to pay the time for that, whatever that is, but, you know, if you're doing something that only hurts you, wherever you do, that's your problem.
Law enforcement swears up and down that they don't arrest people for using.
Yeah, and that's another thing we're discussing, on the local level, we want to push as strong as we can, because we got issues right now, like Bill Wright is doing that, you know, I don't wanna keep your door because your grass is too tall crap. Yeah, a lot of cases. We got somebody who had late library weeds here who's now, you know, been arrested in jail. So many, so this lady had late library weeds here. Chief of police, George Bolts, they decided like, well, we're gonna go arrest her for these late library weeds. And so all these like pro freaking Nazi people on Facebook are all like, oh, she should have just paid her fee, we support this. Okay, that fee was $40. It was a $40 freaking fee, bro. She paid with that, bro. Her taxes went to that freaking book, right?
Yeah.
Our taxes go to that crap. So instead of just counting it as a loss at $40, now we're gonna spend tens of thousands of dollars to send police to go pick her up, for the court system, PA to file charges, for court waits, all that.
House her in jail and feed her and.
Yeah, all that's saying is, I'm big brother, I'm in charge, and I'm gonna, you're not, you pay me, you know?
I don't even think that could be done.
You're at St. Clair County Jail.
This is St. County, bro.
You're at St. Clair County Jail. he was looking at an incident with St. Francis County Jail in 2009 against an inmate. Well, when he did the sunshine law request, they said that they'll get back to him because the documentation was on the sheriff. So the following Monday, he got a call back saying that their computers crashed and they lost 30 years of documentation.
Sure,
Of course.
And also the crash messed up the backup. So now they want to spend $200,000 in taxes to try to cover it. But it sounds to me it's really a clean crash.
Oh, yeah, definitely, that's exactly what it is.
Instead of smashing the servers or like whatever they're doing there.
Yeah, that's those guys covered in the past because they're wrong.
Stuff like that, yeah. That's got to stop.
We got big issues, massive payments locally too, that we want to get rid of, you know, what's that law where they can police cell phones agreement, period of time?
It is. Something like that. It was something.
Geonet.
Yeah, geometric. Yeah, basically they can, there's a crime in the area, they can ping your own cell phone in the area to try and find that person.
Right, and if you're in that area, you're identified as being in that area of the crime. Everything about you,
I think they need a warrant.
that's their word right there, bro. Geonet, man, you can take my word for that.
You should know, you should know where the prison system is. They can do, because US is a prison system.
Oh, I know.
So
I know, I didn't know it was that bad out here.
Two
Where
words.
I had encountered it.
Yeah, but two words can let them do whatever they want, safety and security, right?
Then we got these, flock cameras in the farm, I'm sure they're on the way to your county.
they used to do a welfare policy.
Flock cameras are all over farms, bro, so if these cameras, as soon as you drive by, the registration license plate, so please know where you're
I
going.
flip them off every
So-
time I pass them.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
Earlier,
yeah.
we were on our way down here. So these SWAT cameras, you go there, they know where you go. And the police locally, they're like, well, it's a good thing because when there's a criminal, they got a warrant, we know where to look for them, or if they kidnap a kid, whatever. Okay, just whatever, you know,
Not all the other things are due.
like, bro, okay, so what happens when, they decide that we're terrorists? Because we don't, you know, we're against the big government, you know what I mean?
Or like Iron County where they decided to set up a kidnapping a kid from,
Right, or where the sheriff decides, like, oh, I'm on.
I'm gonna go,
I'm more talking.
Or the most recent one from this county, where they took a kid to St. Francis Medical Center.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
agree with the parents, or didn't agree with what the doctor wanted to do to the kid. They took him to a different hospital.
And then use SWAT cameras to get the FBI
And they-
involved to arrest them.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like the treatment that their son was getting.
Yeah, and they force them to get the treatment that the, first
Right,
hospital.
and then they post on Facebook about how they're heroes and their SWAT cameras are amazing.
No, they're literally trampling on the hair.
Or what happens when you get the police trying to get this? What happens when you got a police officer over here who, his old lady decides she wanted to cheat on somebody and he's trying to track her down because he's freaking crazy.
yeah.
And he uses the
But we're
cameras to
not-
find her, you know?
We're not defunding police, we're constitutional police.
Right.
Constitutional, yeah, we don't want to be supervised.
Not bill collectors, not names, constitutional.
Government of our lives.
They should have the ability to stop someone, should they snap one day.
We're in a surveillance state now.
Yeah, like that's not what it should be.
That's been for years.
It's just, did you see what they,
So you want to turn this like?
yeah, we should probably adjourn the meeting.
Oh, yeah, let's adjourn the meeting.
Motion for